Hey there everyone, welcome to Blue Abroad's Analytics Corner, The Rivals, and today we're showcasing the Gold Coast Suns. Now in 2019 it was a bit of a similar scenario for the Gold Coast. It wasn't finals or September bright lights, but it was reason for optimism and there were some takeouts for them. At one point of the year they were 3-1, and if it wasn't for a clutch moment by St Kilda they could have been 4-0. However, there were signs that, for me, they were getting better. There is good talent in the ranks, and Dew does play a real positive brand of football that really doesn't leave anything questioned on the field. They do go all out. And with the right personnel, they'll definitely go places, and you can actually see there's early stages of improvement in their list. And it does seem this year as well that there is a sense of a happiness and a happy ship at Gold Coast. So, let's have a look at what 2020 could have in store for the Gold Coast. Probably before we look at the ins more in depth as they pop up on the screen, I thought the positive message that Lukosius, King and Rankine really wanted to recommit to the club. I thought this was huge, and many pundits kind of take Gold Coast, for me, as they view them as the stepping stone for Victoria and WA. A lot of young players they assume will request trades in the 2 years, in their first couple of years, and the earliest signs at the moment seem to be that that's changed under Dew. He's got a very happy ship there, and for me it seems that Gold Coast are having a cultural shift. For me, they've always been a little bit soft in the trade period, bit of pushovers, and I think sometimes the Victorian clubs particularly see them as kind of that big bully that they can push around. And I thought, even though I didn't personally agree with the massive demands they set for Jack Martin to our club, it does show that they're not messing around anymore and they're not going to be bullied. Whether that's going to cause problems in the long run is hard to say, but it is probably, if you look at it from a footballing point of view, harder line stances, it could and should mean that they're allowed to keep their talent or get established talent in, which is something they've struggled to do. Now let's have a look. Now Noah Anderson and Matt Rowell were probably the two no-brainers of this. I think every draft that I'd read had Anderson and Rowell going 1 and 2. Now we know, if you watch my pre-draft show, it wasn't something I would have done. I know I was kind of pushing for Fisher McAsey for them. Real strong intercept, real strong defensive mark. I believe that that's where Gold Coast rebuild has gone wrong. They haven't tried to build from the back, and to me I think, especially in modern day AFL, you kind of get your stepping stones in place. But Matt and Rowell, no doubt about it. Matt Rowell particularly, superstar in the making. You look at his numbers, he's basically Sam Walsh version 2.0, and I expect he'll have a similar huge impact year one. Strong work ethic, super consistent, strong tackler, very efficient and very skilled with the ball in his hand and by foot. Has a degree of, really is graduated with a degree of ball accumulationology, really, and he's an absolute jet in every sense of the word. His one criticism, which was like Walsh at the same stage of his career, is he doesn't impact the scoreboard. But with that being said, Noah Anderson is the total opposite in that regard. This guy is aggressive and he's your modern day forward mid. He's very Ox-like in his game, strong and bullish, silky at the same time. And the Gold Coast, if they can keep these two together, wow, these are franchise players, if we use an American term. They're really going to put Gold Coast on the footballing map if they can keep them together, because they have got a very close working relationship. I think it's really exciting. I'm super excited about seeing these two play together. Now, the other one was Sam Flanders. Now, for me, this was a big surprise. He slipped so low. He is a superstar. The thought process makes sense to me as well. Top teams have rotating mid-forwards. You've got Anderson. Flanders is another one. In every sense of the word, this guy is a very future 30-goal minimum game player. Got a keen eye for goal, quick feet, isn't scared of the tough stuff as well. And like most forwards, he can find space in an elevator. This is like a modern day sense. The only real need for him to work on is, which is the most common thing for these 18, 19-year-olds, is consistency. 4-quarter consistency, kicking consistency. But he's got all the facets that you look for in a modern day small forward. Jeremy Sharp, for me, was another great pickup by Gold Coast. I thought their draft period was superb. And this guy was featured heavily on this channel. He was one of the guys that, when we did in July, what would I do in the draft period, he was a guy that I was suggesting maybe trading down for. Explosive halfback who can rotate in the mid, I'd imagine, as he gets a bit older. Got a massive boot on him. Real athletic, very quick. Similar style of play kind of to a Lockie Whitfield. Now, I think he's a real good pickup, and he's going to feature on that half-back line, and I think you'll see him do like a Whitfield as the years go on, rotating on the wing, coming back there. Real modern-day half-back, so real good pickup. Complements Harbrow really well. The other one was the 23-year-old Jai Farrar, completed their trade period. Utility player with a turn of pace, has the facets to really complement the side, and he could be an anything type of player, and it suits like Gold Coast last couple of years strategy of drafting mixed age and balancing the age profile, which is so important nowadays in list management. They also rookied Connor Buderick, Matt Conray and Malcolm Rosa. Rosa in particular again was featured on our show. Genuine talent there. He'll be pushing in the side, I'd imagine, later on in the year. Real X-Factor excitement machine, and really trying to fight. And I think all three of them will really make a play late in the year to try and get a regular spot on that list. So let's have a look at how they fit into the 22. As you can see, I think the backline pretty much writes itself. Harbrow for me is exceptional across half-back, real underrated. We don't talk about him enough, and what he does is up there for me with the top 5 in the comp. Lukosius, he really came of age towards the end. He has a high billing, and when he came down the back, we really saw that strong aerial craft he was known for. Good mix of pace as well, metres gained by foot. For me, I thought he's going to feature quite strongly. I think he's going to be like a swingman for them. Peace Hanley for me is very underrated as well. Collins impressed me as well. His marking ability in traffic last year was a real standout. Some good grounding here as well for their backline. One of the best sides in the comp for defending forward 50 turnovers. So I mean, they're really good here down the back. So I mean, it's a string to the bow for a team that did finish 18th in the ladder. Now the midfield has a good combination for me of industrious players. Now if we look at the follower section first, Witts for me, very strong ruckman. He won't be around forever, and I thought that's why the acquisition of, like, for me, Zach Smith was really, really good acquisition, because a lot of the top teams now are playing with 2 rotators. I think that's a real strong one. Like Lockie Weller and Miller are class. You've got Ellis, another guy they brought in this year in the trade period, who's just Premiership class, one of the most efficient players in the comp. And then you've also got, players like Florini, who poll traditionally really well in the Brownlow. And if you watch him, you see why. He does the simple things really well. Ticks all the boxes, helps ease that pressure off of a very overrun midfield at times. And Anderson and Rao, as we've talked about them, they'll really pump them disposal numbers up and add a little bit of, edge to their game. Entries and efficiency inside 50 was like where they were dead last, and this is something that they'll sharpen up, and that's where I think like Ellis comes into it. Very good user of the ball, and if they can sharpen that up, they will slowly start to climb up the ladder. The forward line for me is where the issue is. Dead last for the majority of stats that we look for. Where you find the midfield and the defence can oscillate somewhere between 18 and 14, you'll find that their forward stats all in that bottom 2. But there is reasons to be optimistic. Ben King, for me, showed some signs, re-signed, which is really good, and he's really going to help alleviate the pressure off 2 metre Peter. Isaac Rankine is an X-Factor machine in the making, absolute superstar. I'm really excited because they've got some really good smalls around there as well. If we take a look at it as well, like you've got Sexton, who for me as well really, really ticks the boxes. Ainsworth, and the acquisition of Hugh Greenwood as well, for me, was an absolute phenomenal in. And he's really, I think he'll break out a little bit less of the limelight here at Gold Coast, a bit more responsibility. I think they've got the thing. Ben's handed a debut to Noah, kept with experience and reliability. Charlie Ballard is one who really can step up in a moment's notice as well. Really solid there. And obviously Anthony Miles is just a class footballer as well. So I mean, the future's bright, and I don't think the list is as bad as many people make it out to be. Now, how do you beat Gold Coast? Well, I mean, one of the big things is they turn it over, and that's just the risk of having a young, inexperienced side. There's always the risk of A, fatiguing, and B, getting caught in the moment. And the biggest issue here is Stewie G just play a very positive brand of aggressive football. And when you invite a counter, which most teams excel at nowadays, it's where it falls off. It requires, you to keep your eye on the ball. It's not a surprise we have been close to them as well, Carlton, when we've played them. The games have always been really tight. Probably because, as I've discussed before, our transition has never been the greatest. It got better under Teague. And if you move it quickly from the back and hit them hard, this may be the secret, I think, just doing that. It may be different now with the acquisitions they've got. Ellis, it's going to make them a little bit more regimented in the midfield. But for me, you don't give them easy ball. If you can stop the easy ball, the games they won at the start of the year, the team sat back and didn't give them respect. And I don't think that will happen anymore. But if they're around in the fourth quarter, that's where there's a little bit of issues for the team who play them, because they just don't go away. They are very regimented in that. So it's about pressure, transition, and really taking your chances and putting the game away early. So they're chasing. If you do that, they break structure and you can win. Now, TPI, champ starter, and myself are probably all in agreement this is another spoon year for Gold Coast. But all is not lost. Pick one next year. I mean, they've got Alex Davis. He's locked in through their academy. And he's an exciting prospect for them. I think Scott Pendlebury, 190 centimetres, basketballer. So good times are ahead, I think, for Gold Coast. I think this is probably the last year, in my opinion, we'll see them at the bottom. One to watch. All the rival fans have said they've enjoyed me talking about that. For me, it's Isaac Rankine. He's the pick. He's my pick personally for the Rising Star. I think he will win it. One-stop highlight reel machine, really. Got a real good head on his shoulders as well. Looks excited to represent Gold Coast. And look out for him. He will really cause some teams trouble. Kind of in the similar mode of Connor Rosie did. I expect him to play kind of that role. High half forward, really finding the ball, really making things happen for him. As always, best of luck Gold Coast. I hope you have a wonderful year and really play some good football and get around Gold Coast. I can't implore you, if you're watching this, please go and see them, go and support them. They do need, people there and supporting them. Have a great year, except when you play us. Keep it navy blue, folks. That's Gold Coast. I'm Dan the Pom. I'll see you later.